So today I'm going to teach you in just 6 steps how to add user registration in our application. So if I go to the application, this is a completed application. If I try to log in with a name that I know that doesn't exist, I try to log in, it doesn't work. So I can simply click on the button sign up and it takes us to a user registration page, as you can see right here. And I can simply create that account. So Lace and last name and username and password, same password. Now again, if I enter a password that is not matching the password, it tells me doesn't match. So I'm going to show you how to add this validation as well. Okay, so let's see. So when I register, it creates a new user and goes to the registration, the login page. It says you successfully registered, you can now log in. So if I enter the new user I created now, Solace, you can see that she's able to log in, and she's also an employee because we already have an employee before. So I created a user that matched this employee. So let me put this away. Let's go to the application that we are currently working on that is not complete, and let's continue from there. Now there are only 6 steps to follow for us to create a user registration in our application. So please let me run this application. If you are joining for the first time, the complete playlist for this lesson, for this complete application in Spring Boot, you can find it right there in the description box. So I recommend you follow it. If you have challenges, do let me know. And if you've not subscribed, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss an update. These are easy lessons I make for beginners, for intermediates, and for experts. So please like and share, subscribe, and let me know if you have challenges. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create the endpoint for /register. So I'm going to create the endpoint for /register. I'm going to open the base application file, which is a application controller. And I'm going to create an endpoint for /register. So what is going to happen when we go to /register? Okay. So I'm going to simply copy the login and use it to create a /register endpoint. So I'm going to simply copy this and paste it and change this to register. Okay. So I'm also going to change this to register. So at this point, when we go to /register, we'll have the registration page. That is fine. Okay, this is before you begin. So the next thing we are going to do, because right now we don't have the registration page, the easiest way to create the registration page is to simply copy the login page and then add additional fields to it. So if I go to SRC main resources and go to templates, I can find the login page and simply copy and paste it. So this is the login page. I'm simply going to copy it and paste it and just change the name to register. So I'm going to paste and I'm going to change the name to register. Okay, so I've created the registration page. Let's now open it and modify it so that we have additional confirm password button, text box, and also the first name and the last name buttons as well. So let me just change the title of this page as well to register new user. Register new user. Alright, so this is fine. And let's now go down to the text boxes. So you can see that we have this password, we have the username, we have the password. But now we also want to have first name and last name, okay? So for me, I'm simply going to copy it from where I already have it typed out. So I'm going to copy it. So I want to put the first name and the last name before the username. So somewhere here, I want to put first name and last name. So basically, it's the same thing you have. All of them are in input group. So we have first name, we have last name, we have username, we have password. And the next thing we need is the confirm password. So again, the confirm password is exactly like the password. So let me see. Let me just go down here. And I'm going to paste it. So we have confirm password right here. So we have confirm password, and take note that the ID of this confirm password has to be confirm password, and you also need to give an ID to the password, because we are going to be using the first one to check the second one. We are going to be checking that the two matches using JavaScript. So we need the ID to identify the two controls. So the ID for this one is password, and the ID for the second one is confirm password camel case, as you can see. We don't need this remember me. I'm going to remove it, and I'm simply going to instead of using remember me, I'm going to simply put something else that says, permit me to just replace. We have the sign up, we have login, we have sign up. That is fine. So instead of login, I'm simply going to go to login. I'm going to say login page, and in this case I'm going to say forgot password. Forgot password, no, that may not be necessary. Or forgot password is okay. Forgot password, though is not necessary here, but let me just put it just. Okay, so we have two items. We have go to the login page after you register, or when you are registering and you change your mind, you figure out that you already have a username and password, you can simply go to the password page. Okay, so at this point I'm going to, actually this is where we are. So we have remember me, so I'm going to change this. So we have remember me. So I actually, this value remember me, I'm going to remove it. So we can go from here, we can go to the login page, we can say forgot password. Okay, so I'm going to, instead of having forgot passwords, I'm going to take out this, and we need a submit button that is simply going to register. Okay, so at this point we can actually view this page just to see how it is. Okay, add. We also have let's see, create the registration page. Also remember to set the TH action to add new. So we want to specify where is this form gonna be submitted. We have, just give me a second. Okay, so this form is going to be submitted not to login but to add new. Okay, so to come to this form, we go to /register to display this form on the web page, but to submit it, we are submitting it to /users/addNew. Okay, and the method is going to be post. That is fine. Okay, so I'm going to save everything. Now we need to add a message that displays, that shows success, but let's also keep this one pending for now. We say set the ID of the password test field to password and the ID of the confirm password to confirm password. So we have these two items. We have, this is confirm password, I have the type is password, and I have this one is password, which is the password. Okay, when we are submitting to the server, we only submit the password. The second one, which is confirm password, is not submitted. Why is it not submitted? Because I'm not giving it a name. The only thing that is submitted to the server is form controls that have names. Like you have name here, and for confirm password we don't have a name because we only need it for confirmation and not for submission. We move on to the next step, update the model and the database. Now if we go to the user model, in the models, we find out that it seems I have only username and password. So I would like to add first name and last name to it as well. So I'm going to say private string first name and private string last name as well. So we have two items, and if I run this application, it's possible it's going to update the database. If it does update the database, that is fine, then we proceed. If it doesn't update the database, then we actually have to do it manually. Now what controls whether it updates the database is this application.properties file, and specifically this line of code that says Spring API Hibernate DDL auto equal to update. But it seems creating new columns, I can't remember whether it works or not. So let's go to MySQL. Remember this class, we're also learning a bit of MySQL. So I'm going to go to MySQL command line, and I'm going to kind of increase the font size a bit by going to properties and going to font and going to choose 20. Okay, fine. So I'm going to say use fleet app db, and I'm going to say describe user. Okay, so you can see it updated the first name and it updated the last name. That is great. So we don't have to worry about writing the queries. So we need to update it, run the application to check if they are created. That is great, we've done it. Moreover, ensure that the field ID is auto increment. So this ID is auto increment. That is great. Now we need to write the password confirm scripts. Okay, the password confirm script is going to be written in a different JavaScript file. I would like to write it in a different JavaScript file. Actually, we can also write a script inside the HTML file somewhere here. We can open like a script, and then write the script inside. But it's better to write scripts in a different file. So let's go to the JS folder and let's write the register.js file. So I'm going to go to static and go to JS, and I'm simply going to right click and say new order, and I'm going to simply give it a name. So let me just JavaScript. So we have JavaScript source file. That's what you are going to use, and the name is going to be register.js. Okay, register.js. So we have what is in here. So basically, you can put a comment somewhere here, maybe by you. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to use the document.ready function. So document.ready, that's always the first thing you need to type in your JavaScript, so that the script will execute only when the document loads completely. Document.ready function and document.ready function, and the function is going to be like this. So every other thing we are going to be writing is going to be inside the document.ready function. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is to get the text box for the username and get the text box for the password, so that we can check whether what is in there, what is in both of them correspond. So the first line is it says creates a variable that gets the text box for the password. This second one is a text box for the username, for the confirm password. And we are going to write a function that validates the password. So I'm going to just write a function that checks if the two correspond. So this function is fairly simple to understand. Let me just clean up the code a bit. So the function says, maybe I'll make some room here. It says if the password value is not equal to the confirm password value, then they don't match. You simply display a validation, a custom validation that says passwords don't match. Else, you don't display anything. That is simply how it works. So if they don't match, then display a validation and you don't submit, the form doesn't submit. Now if a user makes a change, then you're also going to check again. If a user makes, have I made some mistake? I'm going to, okay. So if a user makes a change either on the password text box or in the confirm password key up, while you are typing on the confirm password text box, you are going to validate. So because if he gets it correctly, you validate. So you keep validating with whether he is making any changes, you keep validating. So I recommend we just test out this application just to see if everything is working fine. So it's not this one. The application we are working on is running on port 8080, and I'm going to say HTTP localhost, and it's running on port 8080. Oh, okay, so there's a typo here. I have two of these. Okay, so this is the application that we are working on currently that is not complete. So let's go to the registration page. So I'm going to go to register. So if I go to register, okay, good. So it's taking us back to login page. The reason is because we've not modified the security config to allow the registration page to be accessed without authentication. Now we want the users to access the registration page without being authenticated. So we need to tell Spring Security to allow the registration page to be accessed without authentication whatsoever. We also need to tell Spring to allow this endpoint to add new user without being authenticated. So to do that, I'm going to go to the application security config. So we're simply going to add additional ant matcher here. I'm going to copy this ant matcher and I'm going to paste it again. So we have ant matcher paste, but it's going to be this time for register. Now, since the registration page also will be accessing a JavaScript file, we also need to specify that it needs to have access to JavaScript file. Okay, so let me just clarify this so that we don't have any typo. So we are going to allow access to JS/ and we specify ***, and we have permit all. Okay. Alright, this is fine, and we need one more. Because when we are trying to submit this form, when we are trying to submit the registration form to the server to create a new user, we have not logged in at that time. So I'm going to add another ant matcher this time to the ant matcher is going to be for /users/addNew. So there is an endpoint where we have the form is to be submitted for new user registration. So I'm going to simply say permit all. Okay. So at this point we should be able to access our registration page without being logged in. So I'm going to rerun this application again. So while this application is starting up, I'm going to just check what next we are going to do. I'm going to open the user controller and so that we can be ready to work on the addNew, because we need to make some changes at that point. So I'm going to open user controller. Okay, this is what we have here. So let's go to access the page. So I'm going to I'm not sure we've linked this. We've not. Okay, so let's just go to /register. And now we have the registration page. Now, if we try to submit, maybe we try to submit something. Let me just tell you, it's not going to work. We are going to come back to that. So now I'm entering different password that is not matching, and I try. Okay, it tries to submit because we did not actually link the JavaScript file here. So we did not tell the register page to use the JavaScript file. So let's just do that. To do that, permit me to just copy from maybe I'll just check. I'm just copy from existing script like this. So I'll just copy and change instead of typing it out manually. So it's going to be the registration, and it's better to add it right at the end, and we are going to be doing register.js. So at this point it should be able to use the validation script. We wrote the JavaScript validation. And again, when we have this in our register, we should have link to sorry, in the login page we should have a link to register. In the login page we should have a link to register. So this sign up here, we should actually change it to a link that has a anchor tag, a href tag to the registration page. So it's going to be /register. Okay, and it's not a button, so let's just take out this type is equal to submit, and this is going to be /a. It's simply a link linking to the register, displaying the register file, the register.html. And at this point, permit me to run this application, and I want us to first check that this registration link is working, and we also check that the password validation is working as well. And after then, we can then go to the user controller and then make some changes. Okay, so I think Tomcat started, and that is fine. So let's go back here. I'm going to go to login. So from login, I can now click on sign up, and it takes us to register. And let's test that this works. I try to enter something that doesn't match, and it yet does not. Okay, so permit me to do this. So it doesn't also recognize. Okay, so I'm going to hit F12 just to check. Okay, so you can see that it's giving error in line 5 of our register.html. So it says error in line 5 right here. Document.ready function. Let's see. So let's go back to our register. Document.ready function. Line 5. Document.ready function. Okay, so permit me to let's see. So we have document.ready function. It should be correct. Am I missing out something? So it says document.ready function. So it says line 5. Let's go back to check the page. It says $sign is not defined. I think we need to add jQuery to our file. So we need to add jQuery and Bootstrap to be able to use the selectors. So I'm going to go to register.html, and I'm going to add jQuery and Bootstrap. Actually, it should have been only jQuery, but let me just add it. So I need to add jQuery and Bootstrap for it to work. So I'm going to rerun this application at this point. I'm sure it will work. I'm really sure it's going to work. So I'm going to close this and close this as well. So I'm going to come back here, and let's go to try to access the application. We have login page. We go to sign up, and we try to enter a password, enter something that doesn't match, and you can see passwords don't match. That is fine. Okay, so let's now go to write the endpoint to submit. Okay, so that is what is left. We have to modify the method to submit. Okay, as I mentioned, the normal method for submitting a new user is about the same, but there's a little change we are going to make. At this point, I'm going to copy and paste, and then I'm going to explain it to you. Now, normally when we are trying to submit model user, this is fine. Okay. User service, we need to auto-wire the user service in here. So I'm going to say auto-wired user service. User service. Give me a second. So our auto-wired private user service. Okay. So at this point we have user service.save. Why is it saying it's not there? Okay, so let's save everything first. So it says user service does not have. So let's see. Oh, we've not written this. Okay, so that it doesn't mean, no problem. I'll simply say user repository dot save and give it user. Okay, and before we can use the repository, we need to auto-wire it into the service. Auto-wired private user repository, and I'm going to save everything, and let's just go to user repository to check that everything is fine. So I'm going to open user repository. Okay, user repository is okay. We have find by username. The service is okay. Remember, it's annotated with @service annotation. At this point in our user controller, we have the method to save a new user. Now I'm going to space out all of this so that I'll be able to explain it to you. So what we have here actually is very few lines of code, except that I splitted this into two. So when a user successfully registers and the user details is saved, what is going to happen is that we will redirect the user to /login here. Now we are using a different redirection method called redirect view. We use the redirect view because it gives us option to add redirect attributes called flash attributes. The flash attribute preserves its value when a redirect occurs, but when we use model, the attribute is not preserved. So what I'm saying is this: if I go to a normal controller we've been working with, let's say we have contact controller, and we have this model, and we add things, a model attributes. We are adding things to the model. When we do a redirect, all these are gone. But when we do a redirect from this registration to login, I also want this message to be passed along, so that I'll capture this message and display to the user, telling him that your registration was successful. Okay. Okay, so that is what is happening here. I'm creating a new redirect view, redirecting to /login, and true simply means that I can't remember this, but you can also always check it. It says that whether to interpret given URL as relative or current. Here is relative. It's a relative, it's not absolute. So we now add a flash attribute message, which is a success message telling the person that he registered successfully, and then he can log in with the details he used. I try to explain this here so you can just read it up. And finally, we are going to add a success message to the login page. This success message will only display when the login page is redirected to from the registration page. So going to /login does not display this message. It's only when you redirect from the registration page, then this message is displayed. So I'm going to open again the login page. I'm going to open the login page, and permit me to just also change the title of the page to login. Okay, login. So I'm going to go to login page, and let me figure out where to place this success message. I think the best place to place it is place it in the login page. Okay, so I did not say anything. Place blah blah blah. Okay, so let's place it right here, just under the first form tag, right? Okay, I did say it below the first form tag, and the login page displays with a message. So this is a message. So this is a time-lived expression that displays the message that comes from a Flash attribute message. And the div, I want to style it green. I want to display it as green because if the user logs in successfully, it's better to show a green color. At this point, I think we are done. I'm going to run it. Then I'm going to raise some questions that we are going to discuss in the next lesson. So I'm going to relaunch this application, and hopefully at this time we should be able to log in, register, and also log in. Meanwhile, if I check existing users, so I say select star from user, you can see that we have about 3 users here. So I'm going to add one more user, and let's see how it goes. So now Tomcat started at port 8080. And let's start with the login page. And from the login I'm going to sign up. Okay, so I'm going to enter a new user, Solace, and the username is Solace, and passwords is the same password, gift. And I'm going to log in or register, and now you can see it says you successfully registered. You can now log in. So I can now enter the new user I created just now, Solace, and click on login, and there we go, we've correctly logged in to the application. And now this Solace is an employee because I already have an employee called Solace. So this is how to work with user registration in Spring Boot. Another question is, how do we increase the password strength? How do we also make sure that the password is encrypted? Actually, you don't ever have to put password as plain text in your database. So this, we are violating the law, the rules. So we are going to handle this in the next lessons coming. We are going to encrypt this password using bcrypt encoder, and we're also going to try to set the password strength. Another thing we can think of doing is setting the roles, maybe admin role, user role, and this we are going to do next. I'm going to thank you for viewing. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. Try to connect with me in my Instagram page, my Facebook. I would like to hear from you and also help you solve whatever challenges you face. I remain Kindson the Tech Pro, and I'm always there for you.